And so I'm here tonight to give us a little bit of movement, but also a chance to land, acknowledge that this, couple days that are the weekend are past and that we are stepping into yet another week. As always, or not as always, but I guess as often, I don't quite have a plan. I thought I would just kind of step into this collective space with you all and just see what shows up. So I'm sort of getting this sense we're going to do some deep stretch, little bit of slow movement, but nothing too much. And we'll see what else shows up. So yeah, let's start. Let's start in child's pose. So you want to come to take the knees wide. Your big toes can be touching, your hips sink back to your heels, and then you can walk the arms forwards, right? Sometimes with this one, I'll land one cheek or one temple on the mat. Sometimes it's nice to be at center, a little symmetry with the forehead down. As with anywhere we land tonight, please know that it's just a suggestion, recommendation. I trust you to find what you need moment to moment, breath by breath, whether it's what I offer or suggest or whether it's something entirely unique. When we land in stillness and we access sort of breath and the energy that it cultivates in the body, one of the joys of that is acknowledging that what we might need, is separate from the people around us, right? Separate from expectation, separate from that list of obligations and supposed to, of goals and ambition. And all those things are okay as well, as long as they're honest. So if something shows up tonight that's a little different than you expect, maybe just go with it, right? If it's a little more movement, if it's a little more depth of stretch, I expect you to sort of trust yourself moment to moment. So starting in child's pose or maybe somewhere else if it doesn't quite work. Sometimes knees and hips aren't entirely agreeable to this one, right? This sense of heart melting towards the earth. Let the shoulders be heavy, right? Breath explores and looks for the places we're holding tension, energy, and effort. And it asks us to surrender, to let go, to be a little more fully in the moment. And notice how the back body has to fill here to accommodate the breath. Right? Space over the heart expands towards the sky. Right? Mid-ribs. Right? Even down into the lower back. Right? You want to feel the sense of the back body rising towards the sky above us. And those exhales allow us to sort of almost fall towards the earth, right? And to acknowledge in that being caught, right? That we are always sort of anchored, right? Whether we know it or not. So let's find maybe 5 or 6 more breaths in child's pose, right? If it's not serving you any longer, feel free to find something else. Right, slowest breaths you can manage here. Right, arms relaxed, elbows on the earth if you'd like. Couple more breaths. And then slowly from where you are, draw the body up to tabletop pose, right? So this chance to land the hips over the knees, right? Shoulders over wrists, empty the lungs, and then inhale for cow pose. So sink the stomach, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And then exhale for cat pose. Maybe start at the tailbone and shift the whole spine like a wave, right? Inhale for cow pose. Maybe again, starting from low back to high. And then exhale for cat.
Good, a couple more times, in
and out.
Good, breath in
and out.
Good, inhale to cow pose.
And then exhale back to child's pose.
Take a breath in and out. Yeah, now with a little more rhythm, come back to cow. Just tiny cow though, just really the shoulders. And then draw navel to spine. Press back to child's pose, hips to heels. Good. Inhale for cow pose. Nice big breath, stretching the front body. And then exhale, child's pose, navel to spine. Good. One more time through. In.
And out.
Good. Now tabletop pose. Breath in. Little memory of cow in the upper back. And extend the right leg straight back behind you. Take a nice big breath in. And two options here. As you exhale, you can bring the knee to the chest, a little more fire, or maybe the knee to the upper right arm, a little more space. And then leg comes back. Let's do two more. Exhale, knee comes forward, inside that right arm or outside, and then back. Last one, moving. And back. Good, and then right knee to heart, press away from the earth or outside of the arm, and then step the right foot forwards, right? So you're either inside or outside that right hand. Doesn't actually matter here, right? Sink into the hips, just a tiny lift to the heart, hands on the earth. Take a nice big breath in, and then slowly press the hips back for half split. So see if you can stop the hips over that left knee, right leg straightens. Yeah, another breath. Back into the low lunge. And then tabletop pose. Right, that little memory of cow pose, left leg back. Big breath in, right? Knee to heart or outside the bicep. Good, leg goes back, nice big breath. Exhale, knee comes forwards. One more time moving, in and out. Good, last one in, and then the knee comes forward, sneak the foot between the hands, right? And again, outside that left hand is just fine. Take a couple breaths, so that you're grounded, but there's a little lift to the heart, right? Nice big breath here. And then press the hips back, half split. So hips land over the right knee this time. Another breath. Good. Slowly come forwards to the lunge. Tabletop pose. Inhale for cow pose. Stay in cow pose. Press the hips back here. Right, empty the lungs, and so the inhale is going to pull you forwards through cat pose. Hollow out through the whole front of the body. And then exhale through cow. Try not to let the elbows collapse wide. Inhale, pull forwards. You might get so light you can find the fingertips here. And then anchor the hands back through cow. Good, two more times. In, nice rolling wave of the spine. And out. Good, last time, in. And out. Good, come forwards, big breath in. Down dog, hips press high. Good, nice big breath in. And out. Knees land, little bit of cow pose in the heart. Right leg comes back, nice big breath in. Right knee to heart. Plant that foot between the hands. Right, you can stay on the ball of the back foot or drop to the top of the foot. This time we'll rise. So if you're ready, you can bring the arms up and overhead. Right, option for the hands on that front thigh. Little more opening in the shoulders, could bring the hands down to the earth or even into the low back. So lots of options here. Right, just deep breaths, fill the whole body if you can, and on the exhales, draw navel to spine. Good, another big breath in and out. Good, one more in, and then plant the hands. Tuck the left toes under, left knee lifts, and now we'll straighten. So I'm up high still on the ball of that left foot as I straighten the right leg. Right? Don't try to land the left foot at all. Stay as high as you can. If you want at the front of the mat, you can flex the right foot up and off the mat. And you can see I have so much energy rising right now that it's just fingertips on the earth. Another breath. Good. Land the right foot if you flexed it off the earth. Let's step back to down dog. Nice big breath in and out. Drop the knees, little lift of the heart, breath in. Left leg back. Another breath, inhale. Knee to chest. Plant that foot between the hands. Take a moment. And then find your low lunge here. Right? So you can stay on the front thigh, extend the arms, some other variation. Right? Less attached to form, more attached to function. Right? What do you need? Where can you breathe? Where can you be present? Good. 2 more big breaths in and out. Good, and then fold, plant the hands, right toes tuck, right knee lifts. You can see I'm really high on the ball of that right foot as I start to straighten the left leg. Right, try not to let that right heel get closer to the earth. Lift maybe the left toes, hips are high, nice deep breaths into the heart especially here. Last breath. Good, plant that left foot, down dog. Deep breaths here. One more. Good, lift the heels, and as you bend the knees, look forwards, just the right foot steps to the top of the mat. And drop the left knee down. Widen the stance, turn the right toes out. Right, so you've got this sort of like 45-degree angle with the right toes. Mine are pointing towards the front right corner of the mat. And now we're just gonna hang out for a little while. So you can stay lifted here, nice deep and active stretch, or maybe a little bit of surrender, right? You can even drop onto the pinky edge side of that right foot if you'd like. You know, head, neck, and shoulders can collapse. Right? If stillness is a challenge for you, that's probably the work you should be doing. Right? Slow the breath down without too much forcing. Right? A sense of just letting gravity build this shape with the body without intervention. So maybe like half a minute here. Good. And then legs are going to stay just as they are, right? You can stay on the forearms or find the hands, but you're going to walk the body off the mat to the left. And you might notice here a little more space to get deep. You know, really try not to let the right knee follow you into this stretch. So it's a really big stretch along my right side right now. Right, my left hip is collapsing closer to the earth. That's fine. Maybe 10, 12 breaths here. Right, notice if the breath is carrying any tension, right? Any energy that's actually sort of a result of you not finding ways to get calm and settled. And smooth and easy breath. Not necessarily deep, it's a few more. Right, Watch how the body lets go. So when you come out of this nice deep stretch, right? Move slow, try not to rush, try not to just throw the body around, right? If there's intensity, get curious about it, right? Slow step back to down dog, right? If you need something else, feel free, whether it's movement or a different place to land. Take a couple big breaths here, in and out. And then heels will lift from down dog. Knees will bend to look forwards, and that left foot will come between the hands, right? Right knee will land. And then widening here, left toes turn out. Right, again, maybe a couple breaths to sort of assess where you are, how it's all feeling, and where you want to go. And then time, right, to deepen, surrender, and land. Right, notice patterns of holding tension, effort, or energy here. Right, notice a tendency maybe in the mind, once the body is still, to automatically start with other things, right? Other tasks, lists, plans, and memories. Can you get caught up in present moment experience, just the here and now? With that option to stay at center, or maybe walking the body off the mat, either on the hands or the forearms. So now getting a nice deep stretch through the left side body. All right. Try not to take that left knee with you here. So chance for the inner left hip to stretch a little differently as well. Right hip can collapse towards the earth. Yeah, just a few more breaths. And that slow unraveling through center. A slow step back to down dog. And gentle with the hips, groin. Good, and then pull forwards to your plank, right? From the toes and the knees, lower all the way down. Good. Left arm is going to extend straight out. So my palm is down. My left arm is in line with my shoulder. My right hand is under my right shoulder here. And I'm actually going to start to roll up on the left side body. So a couple options. You can bend the left knee out in front. Right? Your right leg can stay straight. Your right foot can land on the earth. Right? Left leg could be straight here. But I'm up on the left side of my body right now. My right hand is anchored, and I want to be able to land and relax my head and neck onto the earth. Right? And any sort of combination in the legs that feels supportive is absolutely fine here. Right? You can leave that right hand in front. There is a variation where that hand comes behind the back, sometimes a little intense. Right, relax the muscles in the face, the jaw. Maybe a minute here just to let the tension in the shoulder ease. At any point between here and there, right, you can come back down to the front of the body. So just a few more breaths, right? No tension in the shoulders, midsection, right? The legs, unless it's really taking care of the low back to stay anchored and strong. There might be some intensity in the arm, shouldn't really be any numbness. Right, you can take a few more breaths if you'd like, eventually unwinding down to the front of the body and just, letting go in whatever way you'd like. Good, and then finding the other side of that stretch. So right arm comes straight out to the side, right? So you want this sort of sense of lining the hand, elbow, and shoulder up. You're gonna roll up onto the right side of the body here. And that left foot can land behind you, right? The left leg could stay long with the right knee out in front. So don't do anything that doesn't feel okay in the shoulder or the low back. Right, again, less about a shape and more about the experience of being here. Right, and not just the internal experience, but the experience of, what's best for the body physically and energetically as well. Right, so about a minute in this pose, right? A chance to settle, arrive, and get what you need. And notice where you're holding tension, any paths or patterns, like things that always happen. And if this isn't the pose, the shape that serve you, right? Be willing, to go somewhere else, to take something else. Just a few more breaths here. And then when you're ready, releasing out of that shape. And just giving the body a chance to let go. And hands will come up under shoulders and we'll come into the same pose we started with, child's pose. Knees as wide as you'd like, right? Heart melts forwards. You can always relax the arms down alongside you here. And again, go looking for where you want to release tension, energy, and effort here. Right? Take maybe 10 breaths and try to slow the exhales down. Right? So slow exhale, the tension, every ounce of air leaving the body. Right? With the same sort of shape, or similar at least, as you began in, right? Can you notice what's changed? Right? How are you both different and exactly the same? Yes, take a few more breaths. Good, and then bring the body up to tabletop pose, right? Hips over knees, shoulders over wrists. And we'll take our last couple big stretches here tonight. So pigeon pose, you can come into down dog if you'd like. Right, you can come into it from table, but you're just gonna bring the right knee forwards towards the right wrist. You're gonna shift onto the outer right leg, and you're gonna drop the hips, right? Left knee will land, you can release to the top of the foot. You can take a few breaths to lift and lengthen the body, and then fold, maybe landing on forearms or all the way down to the front of the body here. Really great alternative for this one is thread the needle. So either from seated, back of the body, sometimes nice, right? You can stay grounded, lift the legs towards you here.
Again, delight in figuring out what you need rather than accomplishing something you think you're supposed to be doing. Right? Gentle breaths, just a minute here, last little opening of the hips. And if you're laying on the back body, there is a version of this pose, just like pigeon actually, where the shin crosses the body. You can stay on that left leg or even stretch it long, activating through the back of the leg here. And sometimes with this one, I find just like a tiny little rock of that foot and shin from side to side to stretch deeper into the hip. Yeah, let's say 2 more big breaths here, in and out. Good. If you're on the earth, just release both feet to the ground. If you're in pigeon pose, slow walk back towards the shin and stepping back to down dog or table. Right? You might feel like moving, you might feel like being still. Right, from table or down dog, your left knee will come towards your left wrist, right? Come onto the outer left calf for pigeon pose, or coming to a seat or to the earth, right? For that thread the needle or some variation of it. Right, if you're in pigeon, you want this sense of extending that right leg long, right? The knee relaxes, you have this left hip sinking to the earth. And then you fold from there. Right? Shouldn't feel like a fight. It doesn't mean it's not intense, so that there isn't a lot going on, but there shouldn't be so much happening that the only thing you can do is sort of think about where you are instead of actually being in the experience. Not even a minute here now. So this last big stretch and release. If you're on the earth and you want that sort of funny supine pigeon variation, please feel free, right? Stillness or a sense of moving a little bit here. And then over the next couple breaths, finding a release. Feet on the earth if you're on the ground. Down dog or table from pigeon pose. And if you're on the ground, making your way up to a seat. And if you're in table or down dog, doing the same thing. Right? Easy seat, you can be up on a cushion. Right? If a seat doesn't quite feel like the place you want to be, come to the back body here. Absolutely trust yourself. Right? Long spine, so there's a gentle tuck of the chin towards the chest here. Right? Think about, pulling the body long, but do it with almost no effort at all. Right? So how can you soften in to getting somewhere? Right? Gaze softens, or close the eyes entirely if that feels okay. And take just a few big breaths here, in and out of the body. And now slow the breaths down, stretch them out long. And if you can, you seal the lips. Breath moves through the nostrils here. Right? If it's not quite accessible, breathe through the mouth, but you visualize breathing through the nose.
And breath moves like a wave with no beginning and no end. And I follow the path of it up and in, down and out again. And if you can, follow the path of the breath in and up towards the midbrain or the third eye. And then down and out again. And then next time the breath goes in and up, lands in the midbrain, stay there, release the watching of the breath, right? Settle into that infinite space. Deep and vast awareness begins there. And then that sense of awareness, right, it starts to spread out, starts to wash out over the whole body, cell by cell by cell, till you have this sense of being absolutely certain in this moment, knowing yourself completely, right? Both in the experience and watching it unfold. Whole body filled with a sense of knowing. And now bring that awareness out just beyond yourself. Right? A subtle awareness of the space just around every cell of skin. And almost like the air around you is tingling or humming. And you can feel it. And then bring the awareness out a little bit further than that. In a space maybe a foot or so just around the body. Feels almost like you have your own atmosphere. Like charged, tingling. In a space that you can almost hear vibration, a little bit of humming. And then with a sense that it's always accessible, if you're just willing to pause and pay attention, right? Shrink the awareness back down again. Right? Come into that layer just beyond the skin. Right? That subtle
space around you connects you with the world. And then settle the awareness even deeper. Draw it back into the body. And maybe notice the fingers and toe, legs, arms, head and throat, torso. All of it alive and humming. And then draw that line of awareness into the center, right? From the tailbone to the crown of the head, sort of lined up with the spine. This channel of energy and awareness, right? Running through the body all of the time. And then awareness comes back to the third eye, midbrain. And slowly begin to notice that force, right? Sparking the breath to travel both in and then out again. Now follow the breath in and out of the nostrils here. All right, draw yourself back to the physical world. Breath travels in towards the bridge of the nose and down and out again. And then release the watching of the breath. And just for a few more, be here. Settle into the simplicity of the body. Please feel free to stay seated as long as you'd like here. You could also choose to come down to the back body for 5 or 10 minutes of Shavasana. When you're ready to come out of the meditation, if you're seated, you drop the chin towards the chest, take a few breaths. You can rub the hands together, creating some heat. And then that heat and tingling over the eyes as you open them. And if you're still in meditation or you've come to lay down, right? When you do choose to wake up, take your time. No rush. And I hope you each got something you needed tonight. We'll see you next time.